There's a common saying in fighting games: play who you like. And for the 99% of the player base, this is true. But if you hit that top 1%, you're trying to hit challenger, you're trying to hit the pinnacle of competitive gameplay, the statement usually goes, pick who you like. Unless they're not good, then you need to pick top tier. We have actual stats to back us up, which is really cool because we can see what the most popular teams are, what the strongest teams are, and teams that are just literally unrepresented in Challenger. I want to talk about how that happens and what makes a really good team in 2x KO. But first, you have to understand the difference between team games and 1v1 games, like Street Fighter, right? So team games are notoriously broken. Many times you're forced into playing a certain combination of characters. And the way I've always approached team games is find a character you really like and then build a team around it. And in some games that's possible. 2xKO, I think that's really possible. But in a game like Hunter x Hunter, as you can see by the EVO France top 8 list, that's not really possible. This is a mirror match. Of course, both the players playing Uvajin and Morel and Krollo. And what this team allows you to do is literally get 300% sequences on the opponent, which means that if you just get the one touch and you don't drop the combo, you essentially win the game. Another reason why Uvajin is on this team is because he enables you to get that touch very easily. He has a lot of good armor that can bypass like other characters' neutral tools. And this is unblockable, by the way. This is literally guaranteed. The opponent can do absolutely nothing about this. And congrats, you just lost Evo because you picked the wrong team.
That's it. Single player game in here.
Take, for example, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom thing. This is a very well-studied game. Many of the most popular characters, like Zero, Morgan, Magneto, Virgil, are in that top echelon of play. And characters in C tier trash generally have very little competitive viability. For example, I can't remember the last time I saw She-Hulk or Phoenix Wright used in a team, even if you have the team weaknesses to cover you. Because in order to bring out the best of your characters, you often need certain team synergies. So take, for example, the Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 results. Two of the same people were playing the same team, Zero, Dante, Virgil. But then you got someone like KBR that's actually playing a mid-tier team. They're playing Hulk, they're playing Sentinel, and they're playing Hager. These characters aren't very good by themselves, but together they form a very one-touch kill situation team that can be very effective. So the point I'm trying to make here is certain team synergies just tend to force people at the highest level of play to play certain teams. Because if you're not playing a team with good synergy, then even though the individual characters might be good, the team's not going to work as a whole. This is an example of the players in Legend ranked in Street Fighter 6. The distribution's pretty even. There's only a difference of like 3x between the bottom tiers and the top tiers. Now I want to compare this to the stats in 2xKO. You have half the teams are represented either 2 or less times in Challenger rank, compared to Yasuo and Ekko that have 28 representations. The stratification is a lot wider in 2xKO. In this video, I want to talk about why that is, but also what makes some of these teams really strong and some of the other insights we can glean from this chart. So if you go to 2xKO, there's a leaderboard, and it's the top 100 people in the region are the people that are in Challenger. But it's divided into 3 main regions: Asia, Europe, and North America. Ali Faye just totaled them all together. Most people consider the best 4 characters in the game right now to be Yasuo, Ekko, Ahri, and Teemo. Basically, these characters do everything, and they're very well-rounded, and they have a lot of synergy with each other, so therefore, these characters are really strong. That doesn't explain why a team like Yasuo Ekko is so overrepresented compared to a team like Ahri Teemo that only has 3 representations. Maybe start with talking about some of the teams in the tier list, because I think this is pretty close to what an actual team tier list will look like, but there are some caveats. So the most obvious thing that makes this team good is you're basically sticking 2 of the best characters on the same team, right? A lot of people think Ekko is universal top 1 because his ability to control neutral with Time Winder, this projectile is insane. He has probably the best assist in the game, which is this Ekko 4 assist, just goes insanely far, insanely fast, very hard to contest, grants you a full combo and hit like most assists. But the cool thing about this team is it solves a lot of each character's issues. Ekko has really good neutral control with stuff like Time Winder and his mobility, but he has a hard time forcing a mix with an assist. Yasuo assist happens to cross through the opponent. So something like this sequence, this is like plus a bunch, you get a sandwich situation, and then you go for a mix, and oftentimes players of this team run freestyle, so you can do additional mix on top of that. So whenever this team touches your block, you're getting mixed because you got 2 of the best characters with mix in the game, because you got Ekko with his overhead, and you have this charge S2, which grants you a clone, which means you can do a lot of like bullshit on block, like everyone's favorite mix, the fake overhead into low. And Yasuo fixes, I mean, Ekko fixes a lot of Yasuo's problems, right? You have a really fast assist to like catch people with Yasuo's runaway. Yasuo's Oki's not the best, but any hit Yasuo gets can be converted into tag launcher into Ekko Oki. Ekko mix-up is really strong because he can do like these time winder option selects that basically cover every wake up option, right? So they cover a lot of each other's weaknesses. And also the thing I want to talk about is I feel like the people that kind of play Ekko are attracted to the people that kind of play Yasuo. Like it's a very similar play style where it's a very technical, hard to play character that's really fast. And I think there's just a natural synergy between the people that play these two characters. I actually don't think this is the best team in the game. I think it used to be the best team in the game like a patch or two ago. And because so many people have played this team and it's not that much worse than the best teams in the game right now, that a lot of people have just stuck with the team. It takes a lot of time to learn these characters. For example, I have a Yasuo. I've been playing a tournament for about a week, but even though I can still do like most of the combos with Yasuo, like here, for example, I'll just go for like a regular Yasuo B&B. Like I can do my combos of Yasuo. I'm pretty decent with them. But there's a lot of situational awareness. There's a lot of like awareness of like, hey, here's when I go for the cross-up move. I even misspaced the cross-up move, right? Here's when I go for stab into stomp instead of going for stab into dash hop, or maybe I go for stance into, stab into dash hop and cross up, or I go into the rapid slash. Like there's a lot of these like decisions that you have to make very, very quickly that take a lot of time getting used to. And not to mention like these inputs are pretty technical because every time I go into stance, I have to input the stance and then I have to input another thing. There's a lot of time investment into these characters. And so even though the team might be nerfed from before, they're often not switching. And that's actually why I think there's 28 teams, because a team like Ahri Ekko, I think is potentially better. We see less Ahri Ekko because this team is newer, right? Ahri recently got buffed. Most of the time people play this in 2x, by the way. One of the interesting things is like people have mostly solved like the optimal fuse for each team. Yasuo Ekko doesn't work that great in 2x assist. So why does this team not work that well in 2x assist? This seems kind of weird. My time is one of the most dominating things that you can do in neutral. One of the issues I see is it's really hard to enforce a mix-up off my time. For example, a really strong strategy is like you do my time, you do something like this, and then you roll. But Yasuo doesn't have anything good for that. I guess technically he could do like even that, but that doesn't reach full screen, right? So there's not like a great option to do immediate tag after my time. And Yasuo having 2x assist is not that good because this assist is kind of slow and like you're just gonna like uncross up. So a lot of people run this freestyle for the additional mix opportunity. Compare this to Ahri Ekko. This team is typically run in 2x, and like some people are running this in freestyle. Other people are running Yasuo Ekko in 2x, and I think they both could work, right? But the reason this is more popular in 2x is, again, my time. You can do something like you can throw the full screen fireball on tag and go for mix, and you know, it's a lot easier to 50-50 them or beat push block and that sort of thing. Another thing that makes this really good, Ahri's faster than Yasuo, which means that I can true block string after my time, go into this S2 that has, by the way, has a lot of block stun, and go for a really cool mix. I think it looks like something like this. If you fail the my time mix-up, this doesn't work. All right, I just back off, throw a time winder, throw a random Ahri assist. Now I just go in with Ahri. Let's say I fail my mix again, I can just run away. I have some of the best runaway in the game with Ahri. And now they have to deal with random my time. So the team works very well, converts off any assist. There's also like some really good reset pressure you can do with this team. Yeah, well, let's watch SQ's Twitter. This team also does a crazy amount of damage. For whatever, I mean, that's part of what makes these characters top tier is they can like link one super to another. You basically don't need to play double down. It's I think something all four of the top tiers like kind of have similar, where they can link one super into another super. Again, no double down. This is 2x assist. All right, so this is an example of some of the standing resets this team could do. So again, you can get 2-touch, and standing resets are really strong because they deny wake-up options. All right, double overhead, and you can still tag into Ekko. Yeah, and if they block, right, you go for this, Yeah, this team's pretty decent. This team's pretty decent. You can see like both these two top teams, they have a lot of synergy. I think they're two of the best teams in the game. This Ahri Yasuo team, I think this is another team that just attracts people that like Yasuo, also like Ahri, but they don't necessarily don't have a crazy amount of synergy. One of the nice things is like Ahri has issue converting off throw, but Yasuo can do that for like free, right? You could play 2x, but again, like you don't have like the amazing synergy here. This team doesn't really need double down. Yeah, so this is like a freestyle or 2x team. But there's some notable players playing it, but I don't think this team is like quite as good as the other two teams. But it's still pretty good because it has two strong players. Ekko Teemo, this team is insanely cheap. This team has very similar idea to Ahri Ekko, except I think it's maybe a little not quite as strong because you have to run up and like, you know, it's kind of hard to like get good mix off the Ekko assist. You still do stuff like my time, slingshot tag, and then go for roll, and then you go for a mix up. This team, like, think of it as like a runaway Teemo team. And then when they get frustrated, you go into slingshot, you go into tag, and then now we're good. And then if that doesn't work, you just throw some time winders, call some Teemo assist, run away again. This team works very effectively with just like a very basic game plan. Now this is a really cool team, Ekko Warwick. Now this seems like a weird team because Warwick's not part of the top 4 characters, but this team has tech. The Ekko assist is just really nice for Warwick, because the time winder freezes them for so long, you're able to get additional blood. And then basically off any hit, you're able to get full bloodlust into really good Oki, right? So you can go into super there too. And then Yasuo Teemo, some people think this is the best team in the game. This is the team I've been playing. I'm not quite convinced it's the best team in the game, but I think it's certainly up there. But the idea of this team, you call Yasuo assist, you do Teemo, you stay careful, and you go for like 2 mix-ups. And then if it doesn't work, backdash, stall for time, same idea. And it's really good. So one of the things you might be wondering is like, why don't Ekko players do this? And it's because the Ekko mix-up after super tag is not nearly as good, and Ekko 2x is just really, really strong, right? This team also has some crazy double down synergy as well. All right, so really bad combo, but you get the idea. Is like, I can do this, now I can go into mushroom, I can go into another mushroom, I can go into a super, I can go into another super. And like, imagine if I did an actual starter of Yasuo, you have been dead before the additional super hit. So this team just does a crazy amount of damage because everything combos really well into itself. Team also has like really good OTGs, and so you can like combo after Yasuo stuff, which is really good too. Yeah, this team just has a crazy amount of synergy. Even though I don't think Yasuo is as strong as Ekko, the team just seems to flow a little bit better, and that's why it's up here on the chart. I think we are missing a couple teams. The most notable exception to this is the last combination of Ahri, Yasuo, Ekko, and Teemo that's not on the list. And I think this is actually like a very broken combination that for some reason is really underplayed, and that's Ahri Teemo, because you could basically do the same thing. So you can do careful tag, and then you just go for high-low, right, as a low, and then I can go for air dash overhead too, if they, for whatever reason, block. And by the way, you can do this on the other side too. Another thing Ahri is really good at is like any hit leads into limit strike, which grants you additional meter. Same thing with Teemo, which means you can do more super tags. I think this team is also one of the best teams in the game, but it's underrepresented. Why is it underrepresented? Maybe the type of people that play Ahri don't want to play Teemo. The one thing I would say about this chart is like, don't take it for gospel. Like, just because the team's like really high up doesn't mean that it's probably better on average, and a team lower is probably worse on average. But a team like Ahri Teemo that only has 3 representations, I think is potentially better than Team Rush Hour, Ekko, Yasuo, that's at the top of the list, right? A few of these other teams I want to talk about. Team Illaoi, Darius. This is Team Egregious Bleed setup. I think this is also like, if you want a big body team, this is probably like, if you want to play 2 big bodies, this is probably the best team to do that. So we do a combo, we go into bleed, we tag launch into Illaoi, and now we have the tentacles up. And by the way, all the tentacles do chip damage. Right? Like, this is just all chip. This is all chip. Where'd your health go? You're dead, right? And oh, by the way, these are both like 2 really good 2x users, right? We got 2 of the most strongest 2x teammates on the same team, this team's actually quite good. This is an example of like synergy. Even though Illaoi and Darius aren't part of the top 4, they're not like the strongest characters in the game. They're really well represented because they have a lot of synergy between like 2x assists, both being really strong, and the Illaoi tentacle bleed setups. Yasuo Warwick, I think is it's a similar team to Ekko Warwick. Is like Yasuo allows Warwick to get the bloodlust pretty easily. Now I think we start to get into teams of like a little bit shaky. Vi Ahri, Vi Ekko. I think Vi Ahri, I don't see this team. I don't think this team is that great. But the one thing I'll give it is you are able to do this in this combos. So this is like a key for any type of like Vi playing on point, is you want to be able to do S1 into assist, and this like sort of works. They both have pretty good double down supers. They're both okay with 2x. I think you can also like call back assist here. Wait, again, Ahri can't convert off throws. You have back assist to convert off throws. You can do stuff like this, right? And then get like a really cheap mix up because that has so much block stun. So there is some synergy here, don't get me wrong. And Ahri is obviously really strong. Same thing with like Ekko Vi, which I think is actually Vi's best team. Like at first glance, like this doesn't seem to like grant Vi much like help. But after thinking about this team more and seeing how it's played, Vi's neutral can be kind of hard, very committal. What's less committal? My time, and then you do something like this, and then you do good mix up, right? So it's kind of like the Ahri Ekko team, except you know you don't quite have the same like lockdown assist and the same neutral presence that Ahri has, right? Vi assist is better for Ekko. Again, same idea. Off a throw, you can like convert off throw really easily and that sort of thing. So it does help Ekko's pressure, and there's like a lot of really cool combos you can do with this team too. And I think it's the last team we'll cover. This is kind of like the original double down team. Like being able to do stuff like this is really good. And then this team still gets like a pretty decent combo from that. And on block, it's a really good situation. And you can also run this in 2x, right? You actually have 2 of the best 2x users in the game. I think Jinx 2x assist is actually pretty underrated. I think Jinx in general is pretty underrated. People, you know, she obviously got nerfed, and I think people overrated the nerfs a little bit. My time, call rocket, same idea. And then Jinx on point, you know, you can use the rockets to get in with Ekko mobility. I think it's pretty good. I obviously don't want to explain all these teams. I'm going to point out a few teams that I think are maybe a little slept on. Okay, yeah, there's a few other interesting observations. I think, for example, Braum is really low on the tier list, and therefore you see a lot of Braums in this bottom section. I think Braum Ekko is Braum's best team, which is weird considering the highest placing Braum's teams are Braum Darius, which I think has like a little bit of synergy of 2x. You know, you have 2 good 2x users. People that play big bodies want to play 2 big bodies, so we see a few Braum Dariuses together. And also Ahri Braum has like pretty good double down synergy, so I guess that makes sense that it's there. Braum Ekko I think is probably like Braum's best team, right? But we have 0. But it's just because I think people aren't interested in playing it. Just happens to be how it is. The best Blitzcrank team happens to be Ahri Blitzcrank, and I think this team is actually pretty good. The idea is that you get one hit with Ahri, you use Blitzcrank assist to create like a really messed up situation. There is a person in EU, Goombo, actually got top 3 with Ahri Blitzcrank and being some insanely good players. And it's because it's a team with pretty good synergy, even though, you know, Blitzcrank might not be the strongest character. But the point I want to make in this video, it's an inevitable fact of team games is that like playing a really bad team, you're going to have a bad time. But I think you can play who you like and do quite well. There are Braum players in Challenger and actually in the top 10 of Challenger. Same thing with Blitz players. And sometimes you just need the right team to make it work. Certain teams like Yasuo Ekko and Ahri Ekko are going to naturally have better synergy because you're putting 2 strong characters on a team together. But oftentimes, if you have an even more synergistic team with a lower tier character, you can do quite well. So my advice for you is if you're below Challenger, don't give a shit about this list. If you are above, if you are trying or you're really close to Challenger, or you're trying to Challenger, or maybe you're like low Challenger, if you're not playing a strong team and a team you don't believe in, it is going to hold you back because there are teams with no synergy and it makes it very hard to play the game. And just because a team is low on this list does not mean it's good. In fact, one of the teams here, Illaoi Jinx, I think is actually quite a good team. And Mystic Smash in the same tournament, that is one of the most stacked online tournaments yet, played Jinx Illaoi and beat several really strong players, including multiple Yasuo Ekko players. So just because a team is not necessarily listed on this list as being really good, it doesn't mean the team can't work. Oftentimes teams just don't get explored and they actually have potential behind them. And this game is getting patched, right? Riot, it's a live service game. The game's going to continue to get updated. So maybe the team might not be good now, but if it's really synergistic, for example, my Illaoi Vi team, I really believe in the team. I think it has really good synergy, but I think Vi's just a little weak right now, right? So anyways, that's all I got for you. Let me know what you guys think about these teams in the comments below. Let me know what you think the best team in the game is. Right now, I think it's Ahri Ekko, but we'll see. I think it's really up for debate. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.